Hey everyone, this is Siddharth Kumar from Review Magic, and today we will be reviewing Siddharth. So, Siddharth is my name, but this movie's name is also Siddharth. And I found it on Enthusiasm as I was browsing through some of the movies that were strong in performance and storyline. So, when this movie showed up in my search result, I said to myself that I'm going to check out more about this. So I saw the plot. It was about a young child who goes missing, and then his father and mother are on a search journey for their son, hoping that he comes back to home. So, looking at the ratings online on IMDb, I felt that yes, I could see this. And also, interestingly, this movie stars Rajesh Thailand in the main lead, who's the father, and Tanisha Chatterjee. So I've seen a lot of movies on this kind of a plot, but I felt that this is a more of an independent movie, and let me see what's binding this together. If you see, this movie is directed by Richie Mehta. So Richie Mehta also came up with Delhi Crime, that won a recent Emmy for its genre, the thriller. And when you have also seen Mirzapur, I mean that's where I saw Rajesh Tarang. Actually, there's another show on Netflix about a selection, the cricket selection. I can't remember the name right now, but he is the father of two sons, and that's why I started doing some research on him because immediately Rajesh catches your attention. His acting, his intensity, his character. There's something different about him, but you haven't seen him too much. So I started doing some research on Rajesh. Rajesh also came in Mirzapur as the father of, um, uh, one of the lead goons. And I felt that just looking at the trailer, this seemed interesting. So I started watching Siddharth, and it is really a sad story. It's set in Delhi. Where there are millions of immigrants that come to make a living, and Rajesh, who's a who's someone who fixes zips, and every day he is going out trying to find some business, and he fixes the zips for people, whether it's a chain, whether it is a bag zip, those kind of things. So it's really a struggle for him and his wife Tanisha Chatterjee. They live in a very small home in Delhi, and when you speak of Delhi, it's a metropolitan area. uh, you know, People from that labor class cannot really afford a lot. So it's a very small, tiny house. They have a young daughter, and it's a period of struggle for anyone who is trying to make ends meet and put food on the table. And the story starts with the scene where Rajesh sends off his son, who's a 12-year-old boy, to Ludhiana, to a factory. And he reaches Ludhiana and he calls them back saying that he'll be back on Diwali, which is a very famous Indian festival of lights. But that day he doesn't show up. He doesn't show up the next day. And this makes both the parents worried. They go back to one of his friends, and he has no idea why this is happening. I mean, you can see that there is that careless attitude. There is a kid that's missing, and that person doesn't really give a shit about a small kid that has gone missing, or they haven't heard back from him. So that just shows some of the callousness that you could see in the society, that some of these poor laborers like Rajesh Telang, or whoever else that he was characterizing, they have to go through it. Like people's life, there has to be a value to it, but it's just brushed off under the table, and it's very disappointing to see that kind of behavior towards someone, whether they have lost their brother, father, or whoever. When there is an emergency, there is an emergency, and that sense of urgency was not there. And I feel really sad for Rajesh. He is a father. He's trying to get in touch with his son. He doesn't have a mobile phone, so it's hard to kind of. He just thinks that life just goes on. So he's a very simple and honest man, and he ends up going to the police. Unfortunately, he doesn't even have a photograph of his son. Now, here's the state: is that I mean, you live in those conditions, and you don't have phone, you don't have smartphone, you don't have internet, you don't have the luxuries of life, and you don't have a photograph of your son, and your son is 12-year-old. So again, a kind of a message that goes out to people who are coming to Delhi or big metropolitan areas. First of all, like child labor is against the law. Someone is a 12-year-old kid, their father sends them to Ludhiana, which is a city in a state called Punjab in India. And it's hard to, because he wanted some extra money and run the house. I think that itself is unfair. But unfortunately, this happens a lot in India. Child labor, child abuse happens, and then you don't have a photograph of him. So, anyways, the father, even if he has to go from Delhi to Ludhiana, he has to save money. He doesn't even have enough money to go there, and that is the reality of some of these people that are coming to either Mumbai or Delhi or all over the world. I mean, this is India. Everyone should be free to go wherever they're trying to make a living, but they don't have money to even go. So they have to save money. They have to sell some of their ornaments, jewelry to make things meet. So his wife is pretty frustrated. She thinks that the kid should not have been sent, but Rajesh somehow he goes to Ludhiana, and the boss over there doesn't give him a good welcome. And somehow he gets to know that his son is in Dongri. Now Rajesh has no idea where Dongri is. He's asking so many people, but people just don't, care, including the cops who are rude at times to him. Luckily, he gets to know through someone who searches on mobile phone that Dongri is in Mumbai, and he thinks that all the kids who run away go there. And then Rajesh again goes to Mumbai to find his kid, but this is not where the movie ends. His kid is not there, and it's still not clear whether his kid has been kidnapped, been abducted, whether he has been killed, whether he has been he just ran and he will one day come back home. So Rajesh comes back home from Mumbai to reunite with his daughter and wife, and next day he's back on work. So I mean, this is really a sad reality, and I think that Richie Mehta did capture the hardships, the ordeals that a normal laborer class wage, a person from that category has to go through. There are surmountable challenges. You could be sitting in your hotel, in your room, and you feel that you have your own challenges. But people at that level, there are so many issues going on. So I think he captures it beautifully, and well directed movie. Well acted by Rajesh Taling and Tanisha Chad. Essentially, equally supports her husband very well. There is anguish, there is frustration, there is this animosity as to why their kid had to go, and he could have studied and become, a collector, an IAS officer, a government employee, something like that. So it's a movie that is worth watching. I think the cinematography, the scenes which are captured from Delhi, Mumbai, Ludhiana, the journey that you can see of Rajesh, who is on this ordeal trying to find his son. He doesn't even sleep in hotels. He just ends up sleeping on the streets just because he doesn't have money. So I really hope that this movie's brings some change and makes people careful about not sending their kids below the age of 18 for forced labor, having a photograph of them, being in constant touch with them, because it's a big country in India, and whether it's India, whether it's no matter where it is, you got to be very safe with your belongings, with your family, and just you got to take care. So My recommendation is to watch this movie, Siddharth. It is available on Enthusian. And guys, if you have any comments, you can mention it below or subscribe to the channel. So thank you, everyone, guys. This is Siddharth Kumar from Review Magic. Bye-bye.